Teachers of Reddit. What is the most NSW thing you've seen while being a teacher? Currently a teacher at a secondary school UK where a student with additional needs likes to have a wank at the back of his classes. He's done it once in mine. I'm male, and at least twice in a female colleague's, so he's not picky or anything. Just likes to tickle his pickle when he can. Had to bring parents in. Apparently it's all the rage at home too. Even dinner isn't off limits, as mum's caught him with pasta in one hand and his dong in the other before. It's the little things that make this the noble profession. Start feeding him Frosted Flakes. That should stop him from masturbating. Former college faculty here. The worst one I have experienced was being in the bathroom while some guy was talking dirty over the phone while he was taking a crap. To this day I am amazed that I was able to not laugh. You should have started replying. Not a teacher, but in grade 11 math there's this dude who, once a week, would stick his hand down his pants and jerk off. He didn't sit in the back of the class and wasn't super discreet about it, but the teacher never saw him and nobody else said anything about it. He's a doctor now. Not a teacher, but in 10th grade, my history class was covering World War II and the Holocaust, so the teacher had us watch Schindler's List in class. For those who haven't seen the movie, there is a scene where the Nazi camp guards line up the prisoners completely naked. Children, men, and women of all age groups were lined up and nothing was censored. Truly a horrific scene in a sad, but fantastic movie. Out of the corner of my eye, I see one of my classmates jerking off under the desk, dong in hand, while looking at the screen very intensely. The teacher walked over and sat on the back tables next to his desk and he stopped. After the bell rung, the teacher asked my classmates to stay and talk to her. I can only imagine the conversation they had or how the teacher mentally prepped herself for that kind of talk. Obviously, being in 10th grade, we gave the guy crap about it the entire rest of the year. Schindler's List. Using an office chair to aim his anus true battleship style. Thankfully the chamber was empty, but the puckering and pulsing as he tried will scar me forever. Not a teacher, but I think this story is worth sharing. It's not really that NSW, but some 12-year-old girl wrote her crush's name with her period blood on a toilet door and it became a tourist destination for a day. Had a 4-year-old tell me the myriad of ways he'd like to kill me, shoot me with gun till I'm dead, put me in fire until I'm dead, etc. Then he tried to push a shelf over on a sleeping child. Fun times. IDK, this seems like something where a professional comes in. A few years back, a teacher at my school had hot pics taken for her husband and wanted to email them to him. She scanned them on a printer at work and uploaded them to a shared public directory, thinking she was uploading them to a private folder, which I still don't know why she thought this was a good idea. Needless to say, it didn't take long for someone to find her pics on the shared directory. Walked into the restroom one day and caught a 6th grade girl giving an 8th grade boy a BJ. I'll see you and raise you. A 7th grade girl blowing an 8th grade boy in the hallway. A pair of year 10 going at it doggy style in a secluded stairwell. For non-Brits out there, year 10 is the same as HS freshman, so around 14-15 years old. Kids would airdrop naked pics to whoever had theirs turned on. After teachers getting a bunch of pictures, we had a huge school investigation. I taught 7th and 8th grade. My school has one iPads, so occasionally everyone will just start airdropping memes to each other. I made the mistake of leaving my phone on the setting where anyone could send me stuff, and all of my band kids were sending me memes. Nothing fricked up, thankfully. I was a student in high school and in my junior year we had a substitute crap himself. I felt bad for the guy, but it brought much joy to my heart because the chair he crap himself in belonged to my old history teacher, who we later found out was a diddler. What the frick? School camp for 14-15 year olds. Walking on a girl giving a guy a handy with about 4 other guys just sitting around watching. School camp for 14-15 year olds. Walking on a girl giving a guy a handy with about 4 other guys just sitting around watching, waiting for their turn. I worked IT at a school. Had a laptop come in that suddenly stopped working for no reason. In a surprise to no one, the inside was filled with sticky brown soda residue. Got the motherboard replaced at a shop. powered it on, ironed horse pee, with a lot of search history to go along with it. I considered my job done and just handed it to the principal and was on my way. School policy is if you vomit you have to go home. Girl had detention after school and I had her last period. She vomited all over her book deliberately so she wouldn't have to go to detention. It did not work. I hope she did it again afterwards, just to give them heck for not following protocol. Used to be a teacher for a year, but this story is relatively tame compared to some of the things I'm reading here. One day I was giving a test, walking in between the students, some girls sitting in the last row. Everyone was bent over to fill in the test, but every time I walked behind the last row, it appeared as if that girl had pulled her pants lower and lower, up until the point she was nearly sitting on the chair with her bare cheeks. Of course I had to tell her it was inappropriate, at which point she had to button up her pants again in order for them to stay up. Very strange thing to comment on, I can tell you that. I teach group music lessons. One group consists of 5 9-year-old girls who are learning the flute. While one of them was in the bathroom, another grabbed her flute, held it to her posterior and farted on it. She placed it back on the table and muttered, "That's what she gets for wearing a hat indoors." This is freaking incredible. I teach middle school literature and theater. First year of teaching. After a rehearsal when I thought all my students had been picked up, went back to the stage to collect a few things. Walked in on 2 8th graders getting super touchy-feely. Guy had gotten her shirt off and was working on removing her bra. Not sure who was more embarrassed, me or the kids. Turned my back, told them to get dressed and get to the front doors. Immediately called both families. Both were pretty cool with it, all things considered. Worst part was, about 3 minutes into the conversation with the girl's father, he realized I'd seen her without a shirt on. Don't think I made eye contact with either one of them for the rest of the year. Worst part was, about 3 minutes into the conversation with the girl's father, he realized I'd seen her without a shirt on. I mean, yeah, but you prevented it from going further. If anything, I'd hope to think he was grateful to you. Preschool teacher here, and this is about to get weird. One thing kids have in common is they reach an age where the mysteries of their bodies become incredibly fascinating. One aspect of this is when little boys realize they get erections. Yes, if you're not a parent or a teacher, little boys get erections. Even infants do. One time when I was teaching 4-5-year-olds, one little boy was taking way too long in the bathroom. The door went 3/4 of the way to the ceiling so teachers could monitor, and when I peeked into the bathroom I found one of our little boys exploring himself. By this I mean he was using his little boner to push the bathroom stall door open, letting it swing back, then pushing it open again. Kids are freaking weird. Whoa, I can open the door with my pee-pee. One of my mom's students would masturbate in class, had her feet up on the desk and everything. It was 2nd grade. I was a science teacher in a boys' boarding school. The school was located in a very cold region and so some kids would skip showers. Once I was on duty and I had to go inspect the boys' dorms. I noticed a really awful smell coming off one kid. I reported him to his housemaster so he can get him to shower. Long story short, at some point it came to light that the kid had developed gangrene around his private parts and in his feet. It fell on me as the teacher on duty to take him to the hospital. On further inspection the kid was found to also have bed bugs, so I had to be scrubbed down too and shave my hair bald for being close to him, and the health inspection office also got involved with the school and the school basically closed for 4 weeks. PS, the school had hot water showers for students but not in the teachers' quarters, so all the teachers showered with cold water. This kid really had no excuse. I had a substitute once who told us about his experience at a not so well funded school. He was walking down the hall when he saw a liner for the boys' bathroom, which is an immediate red flag cause IDK about you guys, but I've never seen a line for a boys' bathroom. Turns out a girl was giving BJs in the stall for the low price of $1 a piece. Dang, that's a bargain. As a camp counselor, I had to separate 2 boys about 8 years old having a sword fight in the bathroom. Needless to say, I was the one who needed to talk to someone after that. I see nothing wrong with an honorable duel such as that. Back when was an intern, I used to spend a lot of time with the school's IT guy. One of the duties was updating the browser filter so students couldn't use the internet freely. This was before laptops were common in schools. The list of blocked websites included some very weird and freaky sites. Not a teacher, but multiple times this emo girl was caught jacking off her boyfriend, whether it be in the lunchroom, the classroom, the bathroom, etc. She always was jacking him off. I walked in on them doing this, but they didn't notice me. I left the room as soon as I saw them. Last I heard, the girl got expelled and the guy got off scot-free. She was probably mashing it. Not a teacher, but my mother was, and she has lots of great stories, but one in particular comes to mind. Some elementary school classrooms have very large metal ceiling fans. I haven't been to an elementary school in some time, but I know growing up I remembered them. Not sure if they are still in use now. Anyway, the ones I had in class growing up always had a large metal cage surrounding the fans so that no one would get hit by it. They are very powerful and made out of metal. One day, my mom was sitting in the classroom late after school grading papers at her desk. She talked about how she was always friendly with the janitor that would come in and clean the classroom at the end of the day and enjoyed chatting with him while he did his job. She's sitting there grading papers and all of a sudden, bang. She looks up and he's been flung across the room and landed a bloody mess in a pile of desks. He had been dusting the overhead lights on a stepladder when the metal ceiling fan caught him in the head. Split his forehead open, blood everywhere. My mom uses the rags from the blackboard to apply pressure and stop the bleeding the best she could. He called 911. Paramedics show up. Apparently there was so much blood at this point that she joked about one of the paramedics being lightheaded and having to sit for a moment outside. In the end the janitor was alright. My mom was on some old TV show called Rescue 911 or something like that for applying pressure and reducing the guy's blood loss. This, and I'm sure other incidents, are the reason these metal ceiling fans now have the cage enclosure I remember from my elementary classrooms. Definitely not safe for work. This is the coolest story. Once I arrived to a classroom just as a 14-year-old girl announced to all of her classmates that period blood smelled like rotten fish. I just said it really had nothing to do with French and started my class as usual. I later told her that if it really did smell like fish, she should share that with her doctor. IT admin at a local school district. You would be surprised what I have seen on kids' search histories. Mostly memes of the day, but sometimes it's pretty fricked up. Summer camp counselor back in late 90s. A 13-year-old girl gave a 13-year-old boy a BJ in the woods. The boy stupidly bragged about it to the other kids. Another counselor overheard it and reported it to the camp owner director. He had both kids brought to the office and they each had to call their parents and tell them why they were getting kicked out of camp. This happened a few months ago. We were playing a game. We were writing on the board and unbeknownst to me the floor was waxed earlier in the day. But as I got the kids to go to the board, this one girl slipped and fell face first into the table that was in front of the board. Busted out a few teeth. Blood on the floor. All over the table. I honestly thought she died right there. Luckily, she didn't. Her parents were chill about what happened, and school paid for any medical problem. I felt like crap after that. Like she was in my care and I failed her. I still get nightmares about that day. Back when I was a long-term substitute, I walked into the backstage area of the theater and interrupted two students making love on the couch we used for the show the previous week. Turned around and walked out saying you have 2 minutes to get dressed and get on stage. I didn't report them to admin, but I gave them a talk about appropriate time and place. I then had the couch moved into storage. Same. We had an upstairs lounge over the stage. Pretty nice one too. After school, a lot of students had sex up there. Not a teacher, but I once saw a female student giving head to a boy on a football field, which he then vomited all over. I saw a 15-year-old girl take the virginity of 3 guys simultaneously. All were suspended. 2 of the guys criminally charged because they were 18. The other one was thrown from the school. The girl, as far as I understood, was thrown from the next school she went to as well and ended up in the psych ward. Her uncle, who was her legal guardian, was arrested 3 months afterwards. This is an incredibly sad story. I bet her childhood wasn't the greatest. I caught one of my female students making love with her 21-year-old boyfriend in the upper floor. I was going to make a personal call and I wanted better reception. So I went up the stairs thinking I would make the call by the window up there. As I made my way up, I immediately froze as I saw her boyfriend getting off her, missionary style. She yells "Oh my god" and immediately tries to get up. I quickly turn around to look at the wall. At this point I saw everything. Both of them. I nervously yelled at the wall, "What are you doing? Please get dressed this instant." I run down the stairs to ask my co-worker to call security. I didn't recognize the bearded young man and just wait for them to take over. They were both taken to the principal's office. I'm not sure what happened to them though. A little later the principal interviews me for questions with the police and neither of them seemed surprised. TBH. Just another issue in their day, I guess. I still see her in the hallways. We avoid eye contact. So awkward. I feel sad for her, though. I think she's one of those girls with a reputation. Equals. Getting railed in the halls tends to earn a bit of a reputation. Not me, but a client told me a story one time. She was a middle school teacher and they were away on a field trip. Doing checks at night she heard noise in one of the rooms and when she walked in it was a full-blown sex party with 12-year-olds, over 6 kids. Breaking it up was one thing, but the fallout was insane. She said all the parents were suing each other, getting police involved, etc. She also basically had to testify to being witness to underagers making love. Only one kid returned to the school afterwards. What the frick? Was a dean and also a teacher. This is so sad, but nude selfie photos of the kids from middle school ages 11-13 that they share with other kids. Kids talk each other into sending nudes, which circulates to other kids. Eventually the one who sent the nudes goes to get help from teachers admin to stop the other kids from sharing the photos. You have to verify the kids being accused have the pics on their phone. This is the same for boys and girls. Also NSW. Video footage of kids hooking up in the stairwell that was closed off but video monitored. My 2 students, 3 years old, both needed to go to the toilet but both decided to pull their pants down before they got to the toilet door. One kid later didn't pull up his pants properly so his pee-pee was overhanging his trousers and was trying to show me locate a bruise on his leg. The other kid decided to pull his pants up outside of the toilet. This was the day I unintentionally saw 2 little boys pee-pee. Former teacher had a 3-year-old scream at me during nap time that I was a freaking bee. I mean, I am, but no need to be so blunt about it. Front row student did a line of coke right in front of me, college level. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.